survival roles and not exactly the best of choices for survival roles. Coping mechanisms, unhealthy coping mechanisms. These are some survival roles that would most likely emerge from someone who had lived a life through a type of abandonment. Let's say, like if they were still in the development stage of their mind, between a couple years old, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old, something like that. And let's say the father left, and let's say the mother got a grudge towards him. Everything was a wreck. Everything was toxic, chaos. And she took and there was misplaced anger that she took out on the son that was left behind. Let's say it like that. And let's say she gave him like silent treatment and stuff like that, and withheld affection, and just completely, just kind of kicked him to the curb. And let's say that went on, and it perpetuated itself. And let's say this is likely what the boy grew up to turn out to be through his childhood years, his teenage years, his 20s, and his 30s. And then we'll stop right there because you'll see the pattern. And then it just kind of repeats over and over until death. These are the likely roles that would be taken on by that kind of person. And this happens to males and females, boys and girls. Let's go through this. The invisible boy suppresses needs and emotions to avoid further rejection. Imagine that. The overachiever strives to earn love through performance and perfection. Number 3, the caretaker tries to win connection by becoming hyper-responsible or over-empathetic. The rebel lashes out or detaches to avoid the pain of rejection, aka sabotages all and any relationships of any kind. 5, the romantic idealist constantly seeks a savior or perfect love to compensate for early wounds. Basically searching for something that does not exist. There is no such thing as that. Okay, and 6, the stoic soldier suppresses vulnerability. Suppresses vulnerability, adapting cold strength to avoid being hurt again. That number 6 right there, that's what so many dudes are running on, I swear, in a man's world. There's a lot of women running on that system right there too. How it got that way, I cannot say for each person. But anyways, moving right along. The likely psychological development by age, childhood, 2 through 12 years old, may become hyper-vigilant, withdrawn, or overly compliant. Deep subconscious belief, I am not wanted. That's the subconscious belief dinging around under the conscious mind. During the teenage years, identity confusion, seeking validation through peers, or risky behavior, may develop intense crushes or avoid intimacy entirely. Throughout the 20s, swings between grandiose independence and quiet desperation. Deep loneliness masked by a strong outer persona. And then in their 30s, either burnout from people-pleasing or bitterness from failed connection attempts, may start waking up to this inner child's pain or double down on avoidance. Those two things do happen. And usually, from what I've seen, it's a mixture. It's a going back and forth from the 30s to the 40s. But we won't go into that. We'll stop right there. Okay, here are the healing counter roles that those must be taken to break free and heal from that, from those programs in the mind and the subconscious. Number 1, the witness learns to observe their pain without being ruled by it. Number 2, the inner father provides themselves structure, encouragement, and safety. The inner mother nurtures their emotional self with gentleness and acceptance. Number 4, the self-liberator rewrites the story, choosing who they become, not who they were forced to be. And this is a letter to the sovereign within. To the sovereign buried beneath the rubble of memory. This is not a letter of hope. It is a summons. It is an unveiling. The time for waiting is over. Time for surviving is complete. Now comes the hour of reigning from within. From within your mind, heart, and from your emotions. I see the 4 wounds that scar the heart of the child I once was. The ache of abandonment, where love left without explanation. The weight of depression, where joy was swallowed by silence. The scars of PTSD, where the body remembers what the mind cannot bear. The confusion of emotional immaturity, where I wasn't taught how to feel, I didn't learn how to feel, only how to hide. And I see the 4 corners that kept me chained long after the storm had passed. Fear, which told me safety was in hiding, and pain meant weakness. Damn. Self-seeking, which convinced me that everything must orbit around my wounds. Ugh. Self-delusion, which painted masks over mirrors and called them truth. Damn. Self-pity, which built a temple to my sufferings and crowned it as sacred. Damn. Damn. These builders of false fortress, these keepers of the lie that I am broken beyond repair. No, but I am not broken. I am becoming. Today, I burn the script they wrote for me. I will no longer be the echo of their whispers. I am the original voice, the one who chooses what this pain becomes. I do not deny the ache. I do not deny the pain. I do not deny the suffering. But I deny it the throne in my life. I reclaim the light that was buried under coping. I retrieve the crown from beneath the rubble of excuses. I pick up the scepter of faith, not of domination, but of direction. Being directionally right, being directionally correct. I do not exist to be pitied. I exist to transform, to grow and develop. Yeah, a living entity. And I, the sovereign within, declare the 8 walls collapse, the false self dissolves, and I emerge not unscarred, but undefeated. Signed, the one who was always me. Sign. So there you go, folks. There's a little letter to the sovereign within. On your journey to discover what is causing failure in your life, to positively identify it in multiple angles, and yet at the same time to define it down to just a handful of words. To develop your own generational mission and purpose that is only just a handful of words. And to come up with your own commander's intent that you can live by, every day, that you can pull a card out of your pocket or a piece of paper that you keep in your wallet or your purse and look at it and read over your mission and purpose every day and look at the commander's intent you set for yourself. Something you can go by. And then long after you die, you can go into your children and your children's children. It's something that is never complete. It's something that is directionally correct, that will encompass the right kinds of attributes that are opposite of victim mindset, but not vengeful. Because any kind of rising above that is hateful, vengeful, vindictive, anything like that, is victim mentality and is absolutely toxic. The point in this life as being a biological entity, just like a plant in a pot holder, a flower, or something like that, is to stay as vibrant as possible, to stay as healthy as possible, to be checking the nutrients, checking the water, checking its environment. If it starts to wilt, you know it might be something going wrong. That's what we are. That's exactly what we are in our heart, in our mind, our bodies. If we become toxic and we gloss over it and we keep putting it off and we see it and we know it, one way to become toxic that I am guilty of more than once, and it's still a danger every day, is the fact that if I haven't managed myself, my emotions, and my time right, and I'm not eating right, I'll grab for processed foods too much, too many days in a row. That causes a domino effect. That affects sleep, that affects how I feel, that affects everything. That affects even cognitive function. Yep, you guessed it. Affects thinking. Anyways, I got a very important date with someone that I don't even know. All I know is I'm going to meet some people there. I'm not sure if it's me carrying the message to them, is it a life-changing message or seeds? Because a lot of times we carry seeds and we don't even know. We don't even know. It's like, be conscious of the seeds you're carrying. Be conscious of the seeds you're spreading around. When you speak, every time you speak, you're planting seeds. What kind of seeds are you planting in the garden out there? Are you planting good seeds? Are you planting bad seeds? Are you planting healing seeds? Are you planting seeds of forgiveness and reconciliation? Are you planting seeds of growth and development in a right way? Are you planting seeds that will teach people how to love one another without being a pushover or naive? Because there's so many of us that don't know how to love without being a pushover or naive. And that just brings in more toxicity. Plant good seeds, my friend. Work the garden. Have a good day. See you in the funny papers.